Human population is growing exponentially, but the amount of farmable land on Earth is completely static. Every year, urban expansion swallows up thousands of acres of green fields, leaving us with more mouths to feed and less soil to grow food. To solve this math problem in the mid-20th century, agriculture had to move into the laboratory. The Green and White Revolutions applied systemic scientific interventions to crop and milk production, massively boosting yields without needing extra land. Today, a modern farmer relies on a precise three-step blueprint to maximize their harvest, the VPP protocol. That stands for variety, production, and protection. Executing these three pillars is the absolute mathematical prerequisite to ensure global food security, while keeping individual farming operations economically profitable. Before a single seed is modified or planted, a farmer must map their crops to a fixed seasonal matrix. The first major planting window aligns with the June to October monsoon cycle. These are kharif crops. They require massive inputs of water to survive, which is why farmers plant crops like paddy, or rice, directly into flooded fields during the heavy rains. This calendar charts the three distinct planting seasons. As the rains clear, the November to April winter window opens. These are rabi crops. Plants like wheat and gram rely on the cold weather cycle to grow, requiring far less moisture. Between those two seasons sits the Zaid cycle. This short, intense summer sprint from March to June is the ideal window for growing high water content fruits like watermelons. Fighting these weather cycles wastes resources and kills yields. Aligning with the seasonal matrix is step 0 of the protocol. Now we move to step 1, variety. A plant's base genetics dictate the absolute ceiling of its potential yield. If the seed is weak, no amount of water or fertilizer will save it. One way to raise that ceiling is by engineering genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. This involves opening the cell nucleus and swapping out specific segments of a plant's DNA to force it to express desirable traits, like drought tolerance or rapid growth. The alternative to direct DNA editing is hybridization, reproducing two different plants to combine their strengths. The first method is intervarietal crossing. This merges two different varieties of the exact same plant, like breeding green grapes with black grapes. The second method is interspecific crossing. This combines two different plant species that share the same genus, like crossing a tomato with a potato plant. The third method is intergeneric crossing, which forcefully merges plants from entirely different genera to create a completely new agricultural profile. Whether a farmer uses DNA splicing or selective crossbreeding, upgrading the genetic variety ensures the crop has built-in resistance and high output potential before it ever touches the soil. Once the genetics are locked in, we reach the second pillar, production. This is the physical management of the farm, where a farmer's available operational budget dictates their specific execution strategy. Plants need macro and micronutrients, elements required in large and trace amounts respectively, to survive. Farmers with lower budgets rely on organic manures, which are decomposed organic waste that slowly release nutrients. Better funded operations use chemical fertilizers to deliver high concentrations of nutrients instantly. Next is irrigation. Moving water from a source to the field is the highest ongoing operational cost. Historically, this required labor-intensive setups like bullock-driven Persian wheels, but modern farms use pumps and targeted drip lines. If a farmer lacks the capital for expensive irrigation or chemical inputs, they can still multiply their yield using spatial geometry. We call these cropping patterns. Looking at this top-down field layout, mixed cropping involves randomly scattering two or more types of seeds across a field to spread out risk. Intercropping takes this further, organizing two different crops into highly structured alternating rows to maximize sunlight and prevent them from competing for the same resources. Finally, there is crop rotation. Planting the exact same crop every year drains the soil. By sequentially planting different crops across different seasons, like following a nitrogen-draining grain with a nitrogen-restoring legume, farmers naturally replenish specific soil nutrients. By plotting out exactly where and when seeds go into the ground, intelligent cropping patterns mathematically offset a lack of capital for expensive chemical inputs. The final pillar is protection. A massive potential yield means nothing if the crop is consumed or destroyed before it reaches the market. In the field, crops face three biological enemies. Weeds are unwanted plants that steal water and nutrients. Pathogens, like bacteria and fungi, cause systemic diseases. And insects physically destroy the plant cells, sometimes arriving in swarms so dense they require heavy vehicular spraying to neutralize. Surviving the open field is only half the battle. Once the crops are cut, post-harvest storage becomes the final and most critical vulnerability window. In storage, uncontrolled moisture and extreme temperatures cause massive post-harvest economic loss. To counter these abiotic threats, crops are sealed inside imposing corrugated metal grain silos, creating completely isolated, climate-controlled environments. Protection is not a single action you take at the end of the season. It is a continuous defensive protocol that starts the moment a seed is planted and ends when the grain is securely sealed in a silo. It is a strict sequence of operations. You align the seasonal timing, engineer the optimal genetic seed, manage the field layout, and rigorously defend the final yield. As human populations scale upward against static land limits, this integrated agricultural blueprint provides the exact framework required to meet our civilization's exponential caloric demand. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives.